What's up YouTube, it's Hani here from Bumblebee Technology and I'm back with another video. Alright guys, so a few days ago LG just had their press event in New York and it was all about the release of the all new LG G4, which is the successor to last year's LG G3. Now there was a lot to like about the LG G3. You know, it had a beautiful display, a great camera, great specs, and a really great design. Now we're in 2015, so now comes the LG G4, in which LG decided not to change much, but instead improve in what was already a decent phone from last year. So, in this video I'll be giving you guys my first impressions of the device. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so now we're going to start off with the design. And the design is not the design hasn't really changed much from last year. LG really decided to keep in the same footprint from the G3 for the G4. And in my opinion, it wasn't a bad decision because the G3's design was really good in my opinion. But you know, sometimes we want something new. But in my opinion, it's something that I can live with. Speaking of keeping things similar, the build materials are also very similar, with the backing being plastic for the G4. Now the one difference from the G4 and the G3 is now the addition of new back panels. And LG is really starting to go with the whole trend of customization, you know? So now there are more options for back panels. There is the regular plastic, there is a new ceramic material, and there is the leather options, which is my favorite. But now with these back panels, you know, LG is allowing the user to get a lot more style. And you know, some of them they look good, but others, you know, they really just suck. Now, another new feature of the design of the LG G4 is the inclusion of a slight curve on the display. Now, this is something that's been carried over from the LG G Flex 2, which had a huge curve. But now with the LG G4, it's subtle and it doesn't flex like the LG G Flex 2. Now, ergonomically, this sounds really good because it can fit on your hand better. It also can fit on your face when you're having phone calls. But you know, I'm not sure how that will fare, you know, with everyday usage, because you know it just doesn't seem very natural. But you know, it's good to have. You know, you can get those good looks from people. But overall, you know, it's more of a gimmick in my opinion than a actual useful feature. So that was basically the design of the LG G4. Now, as I mentioned, there hasn't been much change from the G3, which in my opinion is still not a bad thing, because last year's G3, an amazing design phone. You know, but I just wish LG would have put something different. You know, maybe better build material would have been something that would have intrigued me more towards the design. Next, let's talk about specifications. Now, last year's G3 had some of the top of the line specs, and this year's G4 doesn't disappoint either. Now, for the CPU, LG decided to go with the Snapdragon 808, and you know, I don't know how I feel about that, because you know most devices these days have, you know, the Snapdragon 810 or the Exynos. So LG decided to go with the Snapdragon 808 because they wanted to reduce the amount of heat, the heating issues that were found in the G Flex 2 and now the HTC One M9. So in that sort of regard, it's fine. And anyways, you know, you don't need really an 8-core processor in your phone. So I guess the Snapdragon 808 would be fine. Along with that is 3 GB of DDR4 RAM, which is pretty common now. There is also 32 GB of onboard storage, which can be expandable. Now this is something that LG kept in the G4 that was from the G3. And you know, this is something that a lot of users will really appreciate because it lets you add on to what's already a large amount of storage. And speaking of the amount of storage you can expand to, LG enabled this device to go and expand up to 2 terabytes of storage space, which is mind-blowing in my opinion. Now, along with the storage, there is also the same 3000 milliamp hour battery like last year's G3. And you know, from day-to-day usage, the LG G3's battery is still a good one. I mean, I think 3000 milliamps is a good sweet spot between, you know, bad battery and good battery life, because it's just a sweet spot. Now, that battery is able to power the same 5.5-inch Quad HD Quantum display. Now, LG has really improved on the display technology from last year, as last year's G3 was the first device to have the Quad HD display. So in this year, they've now made it a Quantum display, making it a lot more sharper and a lot more, you know, better to look at. You know, I don't know how it will be compared to the Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge, but what I've heard so far, the screen looks beautiful. Now, finally, it's the camera. Now, LG really has improved their camera from last year, in which now they have a 16 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, which is a good thing to have. It also has that same laser autofocus, which captures focus very quickly. I saw it on the G3, very fast focus. And it also has this new color sensor, which allows for better white balancing and better color accuracy. Now, for the front-facing camera, LG also improved from last year for the G4, and they now bumped up the resolution to 8 megapixels. Now, for those of you that love to have a lot of Skype calls or take a lot of selfies, this phone is absolutely going to be good for you. 8 megapixels, you can't ask for anything better than that. So overall, the specifications of the G4 are still good in my opinion. I still would have preferred the Snapdragon 810, but if it means less heating issues, I'm all for it. Finally, let's talk about the software. Now, LG's software, like TouchWiz for me, was a software that I don't really like. Mostly because it was very bloated and just looked pretty bad. Now, this year for the G4, LG really, tried to clean it up a little bit, make it a bit more material design. But it's still the same old LG software. It's not something that will really intrigue me. There are features here and there that are pretty interesting to me, like the multi-window feature I really like. And also that peek view where you can see your notifications, that's also very cool. But other than that, there's not really much that I like about the software. Like, in my opinion, if I got this phone, the first thing I'd probably do was either install a custom launcher or just change the ROM entirely. That's how much I don't like LG's skin. But overall, performance-wise, it's very fast, fluid, and so far, in what I've seen of it, there has not been any lag or stutter. But as we found out from Samsung from the past, bloated software tends to bog down after a little while. So that's something you might want to watch out for. So overall, the software was pretty disappointing for me because I thought, LG will finally decide to clean it up, make it something useful, make it something fast, maybe something new to stock with Android, but I guess we're gonna wait for next year. So overall, that was basically it. That was the LG G4, and overall, it's a pretty nice device, in my opinion. Design-wise, still a great design. I would have liked for better build material, but still nice. The camera is also very, very good. The shots that we're taking with it were phenomenal. I mean, Samsung is really gonna have some competition, especially with the camera of the G4 now out. So I really want to see that. And it also has great specs to complement it. So overall, the G4, solid upgrade from the G3, and it just showed how much work LG's really been putting in with their smartphones. Now let's just see if they can top Samsung or HTC this year. Anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on social media, subscribe if you're new, and as always guys, I'm Hani from Bumblebee Technology, and I'll see you guys in the next video.